Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another Create a Sim for the Disney Save. Today is a little bit of a different video. I am updating an older household that has existed in the Disney Save, but I'm also going to be adding some new characters today, and that's kind of why I decided to just make a whole video out of it instead of just updating this character behind the scenes and not really showing it off in like a CAS format, which is what I typically do. I will regularly update my Disney Save characters, but it's usually not enough to make a whole video out of. However, for the rescuers, I recently renovated the Devil's Bayou, which was a little boat home movie recreation from the film, and Madame Medusa lives here with two other characters that were formerly not in the Disney Save. Because Madame Medusa in my save file did not actually live at her boat home, I never included these two characters originally, but now that I have the movie recreation, I wanted to actually put the characters that do live there all together in one household, if that makes sense. So today's video, I am updating Madame Medusa with some new hair and some new clothes that she desperately needed. And then I'm also going to be creating Penny. She is the little orphan girl that Madame Medusa kidnaps. And then we have her associate or henchman named Mr. Snoops, aka Melvin Snoops, a very probably forgotten Disney character that a lot of you probably won't recognize until I literally create him today. Also of note, at one point in my many renovations of Willow Creek, I did add in two little crocodile characters for Madame Medusa named Nero and Brutus, I believe are their two names. And obviously we don't have the ability to make those characters, like I don't have the ability to make crocodiles. So I just put these two little dogs in crocodile uniforms. Or I guess it's like a lizard costume of some kind. So those have already been in the save file. They're not going to be shown in today's video, but I am going to do Penny and Melvin. So Penny is a child. She's probably around the age of 6 is what is like estimated and what I found on Disney Wiki. So in my opinion, even making her a child in the Disney Save makes her look just a little bit older than she actually looks in the film. Like she is a very little girl. I would put her on the teetering line of toddler into early childhood. When you first start school, when you still kind of have that really little baby voice and you don't form full sentences, she is very young, very little. One of my iconic tricks that I always use when making children's sims, because children's sims have same face syndrome in The Sims 4, is to age them up, make them look how they are supposed to, and then age them back down. The thing about Penny though, she really does not have any defining features, unfortunately. This is a bit of an older Disney film, so as well as like eye color, she doesn't have like a real true eye color. I guess you could say it's black or dark brown. She does have a hairstyle that I think is probably her most iconic feature, being these kind of shorter little pigtails with a hair color somewhere in between brown and blonde. And we do have one hairstyle in the game that does look kind of similar. It is unfortunately a base game hair and a very old base game hair at that. So it doesn't look very nice. It's not the highest quality hair in the catalog. I don't like to use like that section of the CAS catalog, but in this instance, it was really truly needed. There is just no other hair choice that even comes close. So I'm hoping to be able to update this for her in the future, or hopefully The Sims will eventually get around to maybe fixing and updating some of the meshes on these older hairs, because they just do not stand the test of time in my opinion. And so what it results in is a sim that in my opinion doesn't really like necessarily scream Penny, but she's also one of those obscure Disney characters that I feel like a lot of people aren't going to be able to like name off of the top of their head. And additionally, there are multiple Disney films with a little girl named Penny as like one of the main characters. So I think it could be a little bit confusing. However, I do have movie clubs in the Disney Save and she will be a part of the Rescuers movie club. So when you see her kind of walking around the world, there will be like a club thing above her that says the Rescuers, and that's how you can kind of easily identify characters that you're not familiar with in the Disney Save. Most characters are going to be in a movie club unless they absolutely could not fit for some reason. I was much more successful with her clothing. I was able to find a dress that is so strikingly similar to the one that she wears through most of the film. And then we do get to see two additional outfits for her. There is a wintertime outfit at the end of the movie that's shown when she's officially officially adopted from the orphanage. And speaking of being adopted, we do get to see her adoptive parents, and I do plan to make them later on in the save so that you can move Penny around depending on how you would like to play with the story. But they just haven't come up yet because they're not going to live in Willow Creek. They will come up in a different world, so we'll come back to the rescuers at a different time. And then we also do get to see her nightgown. That's the only other like main outfit that I feel like she probably has on her, and it's a very, very simple little yellow dress. I did notice in some of the screenshots and things that her teeth are sort of coming in, but she doesn't have all of them. So I guess that is one little detail that you could add to her character to make her a little bit more identifiable. And that is Miss Penny. She's little and young, and again, I wish she could kind of be like not in school and like there was like these in-between stages between life states, but I know that's asking a lot at this point. Moving on to Melvin Snoops. He is such a random character that I feel as though, again, most people, if I showed you just like a picture of him, you're probably not even going to be able to say his name, because I certainly did not remember his name. Like, I don't even know if out of context I was shown a picture of him, if I would be able to tell you what Disney film he is from, other than like the art style and trying to kind of like get the era based off of that. So all that to say, he is a bit of a random character. And to be honest with you guys, I don't love making these like henchmen characters. They are some of my least favorite characters to do in the save file. And whenever the villain has like a henchman character, I always am kind of like rolling my eyes. I wish that I could not make them essentially, but you do kind of need them to bulk out the households. And I feel like some of them are a little bit more iconic. Like the ones that come to mind immediately are going to be Cruella de Vil's two henchmen. And again, when I had to make those two, I remember just thinking to myself, wow, how much I don't want to do this. Like, I really just don't care about these particular characters, but none of that really matters at the end of the day. I want to make the households accurate. I want to include all those characters. And surprisingly to me, which I was so excited about, by the way, a lot of you commented in my last video when I made The Devil's Bayou that The Rescuers is such a fan favorite of yours and that you love it and you were so excited to see more of it in the Disney save. And I am so excited to hear that, because whenever I do these more obscure Disney movies, I feel like I'm always like kind of buffering them a little bit in between some of my more popular projects, my things that I know people are going to be a little bit more excited about. And then I feel like I don't know, wasting people's time or doing these things that people just won't care as much about. So to hear so many of you say that you loved it and you were so excited to see more of it in the save file, it really is so cool. It helps, it motivates me, it reminds me, the thing I always say is that every single movie is someone's favorite. It's someone's like childhood classic. It's one that they grew up with. It's one that they really care for. So I try to, even when I am making these characters, like this henchman character that I personally don't really care for, still give it my all. Still really try to hit the resemblance, still do the absolute best I can. And honestly, Melvin came out pretty close. I am super happy with him. His outfit in particular, super spot on. And I was able to give him that kind of like, I don't know, he has this permanent angry expression on his face. I will say the only thing about him that doesn't really line up as opposed to Penny is going to be the hair. He has a very particular hairstyle that's kind of like iconically done across cartoon media, with more hair at both sides at the top of the head and like kind of none or very minimal hair right in the middle. I don't know how best to describe that. I would say it's a little bit leaning in the clown territory, but it is super like cartoony and not a hairstyle that we have in game. However, you can see that he does have curls. He does have like that red hair color. So I tried to match up something like it that has a little bit more hair, maybe a younger Melvin, if you will. And again, we had a suit that was almost identical to the one that he wears. Weirdly enough, again, he wears a suit, which is such a strange choice for his character, but that's okay. I'm happy that we have something that can pair over well and make him a little bit more recognizable. Medusa did get some little updates in the beginning of the video that I didn't really talk about. I gave her a brand new hair. She actually shares a hair with Periwinkle from Tinkerbell, and I never ever loved that I had to do that to poor Perry, so I really wanted to give her new hair as soon as we can, and I believe the one I gave her is from Crystal Creations, as well as a brand new dress that's a little bit more lengthy and more appropriate for her elder status, but also resembles the one from the film a lot better. And that is going to be it for The Rescuers. Let me know what you thought of all these characters down below, and stay tuned for more. We're probably going to be going back to Princess and the Frog for a couple of builds that are coming up, and then possibly back to The Rescuers again. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you could do so by clicking the link in my description box down below or the one at the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will talk to you all in the next one.